Today we're working on something kind of fun while we wait on parts for the Miata. The Miata, we're waiting on a gas tank. I just kind of decided it's just gone too far. We need to get a gas tank, and we need to get a new gas tank cover and all that. So it's crusty, so we'll get another one. They're not super expensive, especially for a free Miata. I can kind of justify it, so that'll make it a lot easier to restore and get nice. Anyways, today we're working on the S13, so this will be kind of fun. I got a master cylinder from Willwood. It's a pass-through master cylinder. So the plan for this is to run a inline hydro, but I want to make it a little bit different and nice. And so the plan is to use the OEM handle. I would really like to make it so it looks like it doesn't even have a hydro. That's the main goal. We'll see how well that turns out, because as you can see, we've got not much space to work with behind here. So if I have to eliminate the glove box, I'm okay with that, as long as it looks OEM. So we're gonna see what we can do. And honestly, I think it might be kind of difficult, but it'll be a good challenge. So put my fab skills to the test. So for this project, what do we need? I ordered this kit off of Amazon, so we'll see how good it is. But this is what it looks like. It's a 3/16 line brake line kit with a little bender and then some fitting creation tools. I've read a lot about this online. We'll see how good they actually are. And then some random fittings along with some joint connectors. So this is kind of all we should need as far as materials go on the brake line side. But then for the actual master cylinder, we've got a nice Willwood pass-through master cylinder if it'll focus. There we go. So master cylinder and then a brake master cylinder mount. And so this will fit inside here and should allow us to create something to actuate this arm when we pull the OEM handle. So that's the goal. It shouldn't be super difficult. So we'll see how it actually goes. I think the hard part is going to be hiding it within the center console. So I may have to extend a rod for that master cylinder so we can have this sit back here instead of up front. For the rod, the push rod has to go all the way back here probably, and we have to hide the lines everywhere. So might have to cut some holes in the carpet, but nothing super difficult, I don't think. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, let's get started. First, what we need to do, I think what I'm gonna do is remove the center console, leave the handbrake in place, and see where we can even put this thing. Looking at this, initial thought is we need to attach a rod somewhere in here, right in here. So whenever I pull this, it'll actuate the rod and probably mount it back here somewhere. We have until this bracket. As you can see, the bolt hole here, the bracket there. Okay, so this is what we're working with. So I moved this guy that's mounted here out of the way. Probably going to have to relocate that. But basically, if you can see, we've got about from here to here to work with. I don't care about this at all. So we relate this to the mounting points. You can see we have about until here, this bolt hole, up until these front bolt holes here. So the plan is to take our assembly here, put this somewhere up in here so it's underneath that, and then we're going to attach our master cylinder like that, create a rod from the handle to here, and it should actuate this and flow the brake fluid once we actually pull the handle. So that's the initial plan. I'm looking at some of this carpet here. It's definitely going to have to go, but hopefully the glove box will cover up most of that. Anyways, one more thing to take into account when we're working on this is that this is a swivel here. So obviously it needs to move up and down, which means that this can't just be a fixed point. So we need some kind of joint here that will allow it to rotate freely. So I think I have an idea for that. So I think this is going to be the perfect thing. I've got a couple of these laying around. They're just little Heim joints. They're threaded on the end. These are from Amazon, super cheap, maybe $4 each. And I've got a couple of these. So if I can attach these here on this metal part, it should allow this to, swivel back and this can spin freely and allow this threaded rod here to be attached like that. So that's kind of the idea right there, but this rod needs to be extended clearly. Let's try and figure out what we can do about that. So a couple options for extending this rod. We could always use something kind of like what's included in this brake line kit, and these are just little, adapters for brake line fittings. They're threaded on both sides. We could just find this thread pitch for this and do the same thing and extend the rod with another stud. Or we could weld onto this and extend it like that. Okay, before we actually find something to extend it by, we should first figure out where we're going to mount it. Focus, so we know how far to extend the rod by. So I'm looking at this, and this looks pretty good right here. So what the plan is to kind of rip up some of this carpet, fold it over on the top of that other side, and get some holes rib nutted in there. I think rib nuts should be okay. They should hold just fine for when I'm ripping this thing. Okay, so slight new plan. I'm actually going to build off of this bracket here. So this bracket is the one that holds the handbrake on, and it's bolted to the chassis there, over on this side, and at the front. So 3 mounting points already. It'd be nice to just weld a little bracket on here, bolt this to there, and at the back side, what we can do is make a bracket for this back hole off of the chassis. So that'll only leave us to make one hole on the chassis, which I think is best, and we'll elevate it above the OEM brake cable so we can still use that as well as a locking mechanism. So let's get the handbrake pulled out. I need to pull the cable out, and we can work on making a bracket off of the handbrake mount. Shouldn't be super difficult. All right, we got this thing out. So also made a mess while doing so because there's a rivet in this little guy that has to be drilled out when you're removing it. So I think before we actually start making the bracket, let's try and get everything cleaned up a little bit here. The carpet's pretty crusty. You can see there's stains all throughout here. I think the plan is eventually is to dye this thing black, just like the rest of the interior. Door cards are black, minus this part. But carpet, I'd really like to dye black. So it's not in bad enough condition to where I need to order new carpet. It still feels fine, like a 90s car carpet. Okay, next step is let's get this thing fabricated. Ideally, what we do is we stack this on top. That gives us enough room to actually put the OEM cable back in place. And we weld just straight off of that. I think we're gonna come just parallel to this bracket at the bottom. All right, welder's still running, so you know she's hot. That's what we're looking like so far. So we got our welded all sides. I'm not the best welder, but she should hold. So now that this is drilled, or now that this is welded, we can drill out a hole for the pivot point, for the eyelet. That'll go right about there. I don't want to touch it, it's really hot. But we'll drill a hole for this guy right here real quick while it's cooling down. All right, this is what we got so far. So this is sitting here, it's really hot still, but basically that moves freely, and that is bolted in the welded nut. So here's kind of an example on how it's going to work. You can imagine that this screwdriver here is the rod going into the master cylinder. So as you can see, when I pull it back, there we go. It should hopefully extend it enough to actuate that. If I need to make it longer or a longer throw, all I can do is extend this, cut this right here, and extend the mounting point outward. That should give us more throw. So basically, we're gonna see maybe what Real Wood calls for specs. I think it's gonna be fine. So I just had a thought. This guy, all we need to do is adjust the rod a little bit farther in, and that will make up for the 1.25 or like the 0.25 inches that we need. This is the next step here. So what we're doing is getting that lined up. We want it as straight as possible with the previous mount. And so this looks good to me. So I'm gonna tack it as it is. So we got it tacked on, nothing too difficult so far. Next, we will fully weld it and drill a hole. All right, there we go. Got it fully welded all on that side, and same with this side. So I cut this little piece off, and we're gonna kind of make a little triangle piece right in there, just to give it some extra support. All right, finished product. Got a little bracket there. Now I gotta drill my hole. Okay, this is where we're sitting at. Got it all bolted together. And so the last part of this is to make the last mounting point for the car portion. We'll throw it in the car, see where this last bolt hole needs to be, and we should be able to get it all bolted in. We should be able to find a rod that'll go from here to our guy, right there. Alright, so I ran out of the wire for the welder, so I can't finish up that last bracket in the car, but I thought it would be a good time to go ahead and trim the old center console up. So I think I'm just going to trim out this little inner bucket with a Dremel, and that should give me enough room in there to have the reservoir. So this is how it turned out. It looks pretty good. It fits very well. It's kind of got that angle for extra room. So if I raise this and see if I can do this one-handed. So. And there we go, it's all hidden. And if you open this bad boy up, there she is. All right, we picked up something cool. I picked up 6 gram lights from a good friend of ours. And they're all pretty beat. I mean, they're good old drift spec, but I think they should work. So these are 5 lug. The car is still 4 lug. We're still 4x114, so I need to order some hubs. Some of those good old conversion hubs and get those swapped out. I don't know if you remember previously, these hubs are also just shot. Might as well go ahead and get the conversion ones, just so we can throw on some fresh wheels. Other than that, I've been waiting on this little piece for my brake line. This brake line fitting will go right in the master cylinder, right there. So it's gonna go right here. This will just thread in. And this is a pretty rare fitting. I can only find it on eBay through some special supplier. So eventually got that in. I'm gonna need to take off this old fitting here because we're no longer gonna use an adapter there. We're just gonna put this guy right there on that line. So it'll just plumb straight in. We have got it done, ran all my lines. Now all I have to do is really bleed it, but I'll show you how it works. So still in the OEM location, but basically got my lines run through the bottom, just cut some holes and put grommets in them. Oh fuck. Basically it just acts as a normal handbrake. So I pull this, it locks, and it's got pressure. I can't pull it any farther. As you can see, it and there we go. And that should be it. So that's with this all. So if I undo it, you can see that's how it works. Pretty simple. Just made a rod that goes from the OEM shift handle to the master cylinder, and when I pull it up, it'll push it in, and the OEM clicker still works. So this was the goal. It all works great, and there's really no problems. So I've already checked for leaks. Now all we need to do is actually bleed the system, but it seems like it's pretty close. I just need to bleed them a little bit more, I think, just for the foot brake. But this feels really good. So, and when I pulled up, I went back and I checked the wheels and see if they would turn, and they would not. So that would mean it works. Boom. Also, another project I'm gonna work on soon is I went to the junkyard yesterday and I picked up something I've wanted to try for a while. So this, what I'm about to show you, is gonna be my powered steering option. I was gonna do the Volvo pump, and I actually went to the junkyard to pick up a Volvo pump and replace it with my broken one, and someone had already taken it. So while I was there, I know there's some other options for powered steering, such as the Prius electric column and the Kia Soul electric column. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a Kia Soul electric powered steering column, which is just an electric motor that multiplies your input to the output, which goes to the rack. And really, it's just going to work in a fail-safe mode, so it should be a consistent power output. but the cool part about this is it only takes power, ground, and then signal. And so once I have those 3 wires run, this should work as long as I replace it with my OEM column in the right spot. And in the rack, I'll just loop the lines, which are this, and so these lines will just be shortened and then looped at the rack. The difficult part about this swap is making this work inside the OEM column location. It needs to fit in there and hopefully still retain this back, so I still have OEM controls and horn, and ideally we keep the tilt. Anyways, that'll be for another video. For now, I think we're going to call it there and call it a success because we got the handbrake done. It looks really nice. It's in the OEM spot, which I really liked. And when I put the handbrake cover on, OEM setup, but there's an inline hydro in there. And you can see it. Check out this. You can see all that, all your lines and everything. Boom. All right, I got the hubs, the old hubs removed. Took some persuasion, and I got the new one on up front. The back one's pretty much ready to throw on, except I'm using that one for the mock-up. I also got the rotor drilled, and so this is what it's looking like. It's not the prettiest thing because right here, but it should be fine and no problem. I haven't tested it yet, so let's test fit it. Boom. Fits perfect, no issues, and once I throw the caliper on, it should be pretty well centered. Got both hubs on, both rotors, and so now all that's left is to throw the calipers on, then we can throw the wheels on. Once we get the wheels on, I kind of want to dial in fitment, at least for the rear, and then once the front fenders come in, I'll go ahead and dial in the fitment for up there, because obviously I have no reference right now. It would just be, you know, going off what I feel. All right, we're ready to throw wheels on, but I noticed pretty obvious leak at the valve stem, so I'm gonna take that tomorrow and get that fixed at the tire shop. And then we should be able to throw the other side on and get her on the ground. I also need to pick up some lug nuts because, well, since I went from 4 lug to 5 lug, I'm now missing a lug nut on each wheel. After wheels are on the car, we've got one more thing to figure out. Not really figure out, it's just a small coolant leak that I have up here at this thermostat. Underneath it, there's a bolt missing, or looks like it was snapped off by a previous owner. I'm gonna have to extract that out and get another one in there, hopefully without having to retap it, but shouldn't be a big deal. All right, it's the next day. I got the tire fixed, so no more leaking air, and I got the car on the ground. Well, of course it's not finished yet, but that was already known. So this is what it's looking like. It's pretty, well, you know, missing parts and everything still, but I still need to work on the fitment, of course, go a little lower in the rear, I think is a plan. In the front is hard to see what's going on because there's no fender, but hopefully you can kind of see the vision. That'll be pretty cool looking whenever I get the wheels, maybe a different color, and a front end on here. Pretty stoked. I'm really happy to actually finally have some 5 lug hubs on here. All the rotors fit great. Next step I'm going to do today probably is get this a little lower, kind of get this fender gap out of here. But fender gap out, probably going to match the front, pinch weld, because right now it looks like a little Naoki fanboy. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got a little squat to it. All right, it's been a minute since I've been up here. I've been on a work trip for the last week, but in that time span, I had time to pick up a fender from a friend of mine. It's a pop-up fender though, but I thought I would use it to test some fitment, and then I can actually get all 4 corners kind of dialed in at the same height. I've been kind of putting off doing the steering column thing. It's just going to be a lot of work, and I know it is. It's going to be a pain in the ass, straight up. But that is going to be the next objective after I get the fitment all dialed in and how I like it. One more thing I picked up was, well, Previously, you probably saw me drilling out rotors and doing some janky shit, but I ended up finding a pretty good deal on some calipers and rotors that were really close to me. So I picked up some Z32 rotors and calipers and pads for $100. But can't throw them on just yet, so I'm waiting on some brake lines since the S13 brake lines don't have, or they do have a banjo fitting on the line, whereas the Z32 ones are a threaded, like your regular brake line fitting. Once those lines come in, I should be able to throw those new calipers on, the rotors, and then bleed the system with a new inline that I put in, and it should be extremely close to driving on the road after I get power steering figured out. All right, I'm kind of cooked. Honestly, it's getting too fucking hot here in Texas. But I lowered the front, so I got the front kind of where I want. This is actually maxed out as far as it'll go, so pretty happy with that. Though it's kind of that fender to tire look, which is what I was wanting. I didn't even fuck with the rear. Like, I didn't touch the rear because it's just too hot. I was helping a friend out with his 370Z. If you can hear that, he's still driving away. Anyways, I got the front lowered, so that's what it looks like with no fender. Got to do the classic 240 thing and tuck all of these wires because they're already rubbing and it'll just get destroyed if I drive like that. I'm gonna come out here tomorrow and get the rear lowered and then probably start working on tucking those wires. Never really done it before, but it seems like you just cut into the frame rail and tuck it up into here. Miata hasn't been touched in a while. It's still prepped up and ready for primer, but I don't have a compressor still. So as soon as I get a compressor, I'll start actually throwing some primer on here and getting it painted. But everything just kind of pretty expensive, so I'm trying to save my coin, especially with all these projects. So I don't know where this is going to fit in the video or what video. I kind of just been recording recently and not editing. I was like, I'll just maybe put it in one big video or see what it turns out to be. Anyways, either cut to the next clip or this is the end of the video. I got some new parts in for the bike. This is the ignition switch with the keys and the connector to replace that. So this wasn't working. Last time you saw this, there was no power coming out, but there's power going in no matter what the switch up top was on. So basically that needs to be replaced. There's a couple like shear bolts in there, as you can see, that need to be drilled out. So I need to pull this off, probably throw it on the vise and get those drilled out. And the new one should just bolt in with some new hardware. You may have also saw that I picked up some 300ZX, some Z32 calipers, and these are the conversion lines for the front that I need. I don't want to install these just yet because they are kind of like cruddy. You can see they're kind of old and paint's kind of worn off, so what I want to do is repaint those before I do anything with installing. It's not a big deal to do, but I didn't buy the paint, and so might do that tomorrow. Might go buy some paint and get those all installed. I think it'll be kind of a fun thing to do, you know, something a little different than what we've been doing. I've still been a broke piece of shit and haven't ordered the gas tank nor the fuel tank hat for the Miata, but little by little I've been sanding it down, trying to get it ready for paint. So once it is running and driving, it'll be just a paint job away and it'll be looking good. So yeah, that's kind of the update where we're at, wherever this fits in. This on the ground looks pretty cool. Not sure if you can kind of see the vision, but I think it's gonna be pretty sweet once we get the fenders on and the rear drop down. I think the plan for tonight is just to get this ignition switch swapped out on the motorcycle and see if it'll run, because last time we were having problems with getting power to really anything, so I'm guessing we didn't have spark and probably other problems. But I rebuilt the carburetors earlier, if you saw that, and pretty much that was all that I think that was needed. can see the bottom, there was just like a threaded shear bolt on there. All I did was drill those out, and now this is free. I can get the new one. I can pull these threads out, and I will get some bolts to replace them with. Hoping these aren't too tight. Usually you can just use some pliers and unscrew them pretty much. Let's see if it happens. Yeah, easy. So I love it. So not sure how well you can see that, but just a stud, nothing special. All right, we're all good. So new switch is on. It should just plug right into the old one. So let's do that. Okay, very quick update. So basically, the bike is cranking. We get lights to the dash with key on now, which is great. There was also a blown fuse over in the starter solenoid. So I replaced that fuse. It was actually, the fuse that was in it was actually a little under what it's supposed to be. But got that replaced, and now it cranks. Lights are on the dash, on the cluster, but the battery's really low, and so the starter solenoid is just buzzing. So whenever I crank it would just buzz. But charging that one up, and it would actually crank over with the jump pack on it. Cranked over pretty good, but still wasn't getting it to start. I'm guessing a carburetor issue or some sort of fueling issue. Hard to guess. Next time I'll work on this tomorrow. I'll probably dive into that a little more. I'm thinking it's just gonna be something with the carburetor, whether it's not adjusted, the throttle's not adjusted, something along that line. But pretty big progress. The bike hasn't even cranked, or really nothing's worked up here at all since I got it. I think the rest of tonight I'm going to spend lowering the rear of this car. I've been kind of putting it off, and I don't really want to do it because it's just tedious. It's like raise it up, lower it, raise it up, lower it. But I'll do it. I'll suffer, but it'll be rewarding because it should look lower and better. That's the before. Went ahead and went lower on this one. Just going to go match this side. All right, all matched up. This is how it looks. Definitely needs to go lower. Actually, I feel like it definitely still has a little bit of a lean to it. I think it's just because this side's a little higher than the other side. Let's see how it looks on this side. No, it looks the same on this side. So yeah, definitely need to go lower in the rear all around. But not too bad for today. Definitely looks better than it did before. Anyways, that's probably going to be it for today, for tonight. It's almost midnight here, 11:30. I've got about a 20-minute drive back to town. We'll let the battery charge on the motorcycle overnight, and hopefully tomorrow we can get this thing running. That would be sick. We're going to pick up some parts right now. I found these fenders on Marketplace for a really good deal. Just $300, which is like half the price of everything else I see for Sylvia fenders, OEM metal, which is sick. So I'm in the town where those are. It's like 2 hours away from the crib, and I'm currently waiting on the guy. So we're supposed to meet in like 30 minutes. I'm like giga early, but is what it is. I'm gonna chill. Gonna check out some fenders, and hopefully they look good. And there's not like too much damage. I know there's one that has a little bit of damage, but I think in the pictures it's not too bad, which is good. So it definitely looks repairable, which is nice. This is a big move because bumpers can all be on, the fenders of course will be on, and we'll pretty much have a front end minus the lights and the grill, which is hype. Even though the bumper that I have is just going to be the OEM bumper for now, I'll eventually get a different bumper. But I really want to see it all together with the fenders on and the hood, and just see how it looks, because I mean I know how it's going to look. It's going to be just a basic Sylvia right now, but it's just that feeling. It's kind of like the first start on an engine swap or like something like that. Like even though it's not done, it's like it just motivates you. So I'm kind of excited to see it. I'm gonna do that tomorrow when I get back, because right now it's 7:30 and I got a 2 hour drive back, so by the time I get back it's gonna be late, and I'm just I'm not gonna want to go to the shop. Anyways, I'm gonna wait for this guy, and once he gets here, once I buy him, I'll kind of give you a little video of him. But it's turning dark right now. I'm parked up in this parking lot, so the drive back will be kind of dark, but maybe I'll chat a little bit. We'll see. Alright, so we just picked up the fenders, got them back there. Not sure if you can see them or not, but on the way home, it's dark, about a 2-hour drive. I went ahead and threw the fenders on. This is like 2 weeks ago, so I haven't filmed in a minute, but also haven't been on here in a minute. So I'm gonna do a quick review. Fenders are on, bumpers on. I don't have headlights or side lights yet, but I've ordered them, so those will be in soon. So that's how she's looking right now. Pretty hyped. Like, I was really not looking. I was like, I didn't know what to expect with these on because they're not painted, but I think I'm starting to see, and hopefully everyone else is too, but it's gonna be pretty freaking sweet, dude. Pretty freaking sweet. They're on, but I got a really good deal for a couple reasons. One is that they're a little beat. So this one, well, I'll start with the good one. So the good one is the passenger side, the one I just showed you. There is a dent here, obviously. It's already been sanded down by the previous owner, but that dent right there would be super easy to fill, or even just pull it out from the inside. We'll tap it out, then fill, and then that's really all the damage there is on this guy. Super easy fix. I need to work on alignment a little bit too. As you can see, top down maybe, that there's a little bit of sideways alignment that needs to be fixed. But anyways, super easy stuff. And the front mounting points are all solid and nothing's been crumpled in. Here's the front right there. These are kind of just loosely fit, so the bumper alignment will pull together when I bolt it all in. Anyways, super good news for that one. But this one over here is not the same story. And I'm honestly debating if I should even use this one at all, and I'll show you the reasons. Front was hit, and this bottom part here was definitely pushed in and makes the bumper like not line up at all. But basically this entire area here is pretty crumpled in and fucked. And with that, you also see the tip here, along with my hood, is a little bent. And while we're up here, I'll show you this right here. So inside there, not sure if you can even see it, but none of the holes line up. Like, they're all bent, and from maybe top down you can see, but it's definitely pretty bad. And also back here near the door, we've got some more dents at the bottom. Let's see if you can pick it up on camera. But obvious one there, and then I think that's probably all, but still not great. Still thinking on what to do about those. Definitely gonna use the passenger one, but if I need to find a driver one, it's like not that big a deal because, again, we got such a good deal on these compared to other prices. Not even mad about it. One more thing while I'm working on fenders or showing y'all fenders is the wires that I showed before. I did end up tucking them. You can kind of see some remnants here of the old harness. That's just the covering of it. It was really easy. I kind of just, it was below like a seam here and I moved it above. Super easy fix, very common on S chassis to do. Definitely can find that information if you're curious. So that's the deal with the fenders. There's not really much else to them other than bodywork and just really getting them fit nice. But I can't really work on the fitment too much right now because the hood still needs to be aligned, and there's a couple different things we got to do. While we wait on some more body panels to come in and really see how bad all the alignment's going to be, I got some other things I can work on, which are kind of a fun project in my opinion. One is, let's see. So previously I mentioned I got some new calipers, just some basic Z32 calipers for a good deal, and close, so that was big. So I think what I'm gonna do today is paint them. Currently they're red and kind of beat up. They're also, I think, not complete OEM. I just fucking dropped it. But anyways, their paint's all beat up, it's red. Not too fond on red calipers for this car. So I got the brake line conversion kit in, and that'll be all I need since I already have calipers. well, obviously calipers. I already have rotors and pads, so I could really throw them on right now, but I want to get them painted first, because I know if I do it later, I'll regret it. So what I've decided is I picked up some silver caliper paint, and I've got some primer over there, some high heat primer that I'm going to use. But I think tonight the goal is just to kind of get those painted. I haven't been out here in a while, so I thought it was a good idea to just kind of ease back into it. I'm still putting off the old steering conversion, but I keep thinking about it every day. I'm like, damn, I should probably go do that, and then I don't. Oh, and one more thing, I also worked on the motorcycle quite a bit. Cranks, I'm not sure what the last of this y'all saw was, but it cranks, and you know, you'd think it'd be good because it's carbureted. I rebuilt the carburetors, which you saw before if you watched the previous video, but it's still not running. So problem was the petcock. This is the new one that I ordered, but it's not the right one. So I'll show you what I mean. So as you can see, if you put it in like that, well, the valve here that you turn hits the tank where it's supposed to sit. So I could try and flip it, which was my thought, but if you flip it, well, then you can't get to the valve. That's the deal with that. Just need to order the other one. This is off eBay. It was cheap, and honestly, I've never had a problem with it. But what's crazy is my friend that has his CB550 up here had the same exact issue. He ordered a petcock off eBay, and it came in, and it also didn't fit. So this was his, but long ass filter. But basically, bought it for his bike, came in, and it's the wrong one. And we both checked our orders, and we ordered it for the right bike, so we're not really sure what's going on with eBay petcocks, but something they gotta lock in or something. I don't know. If you care, he's working on his bike here and there, so he's doing a carb rebuild. And this is a 550, so it's a 4-cylinder, 4-carb bike. A little more of a pain, and he's going to cafe it. So I can see he looks like he was. I haven't seen this yet, but it looks like he was getting it ready. So you got the angle grinder, and then it's got this taped off, but nothing's cut just yet. It's going to be pretty sweet. So I know kind of what he's got planned for this. He's got to do a lot of maintenance because the previous owner really didn't maintain it, but it was completely stock, which is sweet. It's a good starting point. These bikes are really hard to find in that condition to begin with. I had a CB750 before, so very similar to this bike, and I definitely miss it. Definitely might get one here soon. I think that's kind of the update. I've been pretty inconsistent with filming and working on cars, and I think I mentioned before that like I just haven't been editing, and that's still the case. But I've got a ton of film. I've got months of videoing prepared. I've just been lazy, you know. We all know that. So anyways, tonight let's get started. I'll do some filming on the calipers, getting them painted. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just going to do the silver, and then I think I want to do something kind of cool with the sticker, but I'm not sure exactly yet because these are the off-brand calipers from Z32, so they don't have the raised logo, unfortunately, but not that big a deal. I think I can do something with it to make it still look pretty good. Oh, and one more update before we dive into getting the calipers all prepped up is the Miata. So the Miata, I was waiting on a gas tank and a fuel pump carrier thing, whatever it's called, this thing, because that thing's fucked, and then the gas tank's fucked. But a friend of mine has a gas tank and the fuel tank cap filler pump carrier thing in a parts Miata. So he said it's all in good condition, so he's going to pull it for me, and I'm going to go pick it up hopefully sometime soon. He didn't say exactly when, but I've got some things to drop off to him, so it's going to be a good little trade. And he's also got a soft top frame, so this car will soon have a soft top frame, new tank, and new fuel pump carrier. I don't know what the name is for that thing. I'm gonna call it a fuel pump assembly, maybe. So, well, the Miata's prepped, pretty much ready for paint. I gotta do a little bit on the other side that you can't see, and I'm not even gonna try and show you because it doesn't matter. But it's pretty much ready for paint. Once I get the tank and the new fuel pump in there, I think it'll run just fine. The fuel tank in this car is a pain in the ass to do though, because you have to drop the subframe, and the subframe has like that weird PPF that these cars have for some reason. It's like a aluminum bracing that goes from the transmission to the diff. And I've done it before on other Miatas and my old Miata, but it's just a pain in the ass, and I'm not looking forward to it. But once we get the tank in, I'll knock it out and just get it done with. So very excited to have something to drive other than the X5. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just like driving a manual, like a lightweight manual sports car. It's just so much better and more fun instead of the mom car. So mom car also needs some maintenance, needs brakes still. I've been lazy and cheap and haven't done brakes, but I got new tires on it, so it's a good daily. It just needs some love. Anyways, that's the full update. Let's dive into getting these calipers painted. It should be something pretty easy. I'm just gonna do the fronts tonight. All right, we got the calipers all prepped up. Now it's time to give them a paint job. Here's how they're looking. God, this table's a mess, not a fan, but how they're looking. All good, all bare metal. These are aluminum, so really easy to prep in my opinion. I just kind of use the drill with a little thing, wire wheel. So anyways, they look really good. Really don't even hate how they look now as this silver, but I think it'll look better once they're actually painted silver. And it was really easy to do. It took me like maybe an hour to get them prepped to where they are now. But they're all clean, they're all dry from brake cleaner, and so now I just gotta fucking paint them. So I'm excited to see these done. They've been sitting in my box for like a month now, and I'm excited to get them on the car and then bleed the brakes for the final time, the last brake bleed before we get this thing registered on the road. So, all right, let's paint these. First coat is done. Got like 4 more coats to go. So I'm probably not gonna show each one because it's kind of boring. I'm sure everyone has painted or seen calipers before. So anyways, fast forward to when it's done. All right, just finished up giving everything, all the coats, let it dry overnight, put them on hopefully tomorrow if I feel like coming out here. So anyways, this is what it looks like. Kind of just finished them up. Already did the other side too, but they're still wet right now, so no touching. Went ahead and sprayed the anti-rattle clips and bolts and stuff just a little bit, just to really make it feel complete. So turned out pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. Hopefully they hold up. Since I went down to bare metal all around it should be okay, but I'm worried sometimes it leaks a little brake fluid out the port still where the line goes in, and so I'm hoping that that doesn't actually ruin my paint job. If it does, it's on the back side, so hopefully nobody sees it. I think that's gonna call it for tonight. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm pretty sleepy. Been out here just watching paint dry. Not much else to do. Been editing. I've been doing some editing over my cuck chair, while I watch. I don't know what to do about the rear calipers yet. I definitely want to paint them. I don't know if I want to paint them or just get new calipers that look bigger and cooler. Because I'll show you. They also have these ugly blue pads that are interesting. I don't know, they look like they're little baby calipers. So I wonder if there's an alternative that people go to often, or maybe I'm just stuck with these unless I go big brake kit. I know the front brakes are what matters, but I'm more in it for the ricer aspect, just because I want it to look cool. Anyways, super happy with the car on the ground, with the gram lights, with the 5-lug conversion done, got fenders done, and I think it'll look even better once we get some headlights and some eyes for the old girl. But yeah, that's gonna do it. I'm sleepy. I don't know when this video is gonna end, or if this is the end. Maybe I threw an outro in there somewhere. But I want to be on the road by the end of one of these videos. Who knows which video it'll be. Just to kind of, by on the road I mean like street legal driving, where I can drive it every day. Right now it's definitely not there. Although I think it looks cool, everyone else will be like, dude, this guy needs to fucking paint his car, you know, kind of thing. That's where I'm at. This tire looks low. Inshallah, it's not. I'm getting sidetracked. It's 1 o'clock. I'm leaving. I will see you next time I'm here to put on my calipers. All right, it's been a couple days, but I painted the calipers, got them all nice. This is how they turned out. So, looks good. I'm happy with them. Feels like quality all around. Same with these. So, looks good. One thing that happened while I was letting those dry, well, not really, but kind of. So basically, I'll show you. I bought something that is another shit box. So I'm walking outside, and it's gonna be kind of unexpected, I think. Basically, I bought a van. So this is a 1995 Chevy G20. It's got a 350 in it. Good old 350 and a 4L60, kind of God's combo as far as old Chevys go, minus the 4L60, I guess. Speaking of, bought this for really cheap. I mean, it looks like shit and it drives like shit, so it was cheap, but it runs and it drives. I drove it here about 20 miles from where I bought it, and it did okay, you know, steering sloppy, just typical 90s stuff, but it also will not shift into third gear, so it's stuck in first and second. But I bought it for really cheap, so that's my justification. And there's a guy local that kind of rebuilds transmissions for a good price. So basically I'll be in this van very, very cheap after all things are said and done. But it's also just another project. It's really ugly on the outside. You can also kind of see the size comparison. This thing is huge. So just compared to the X5, it's taller, it's longer, and there's a ton of room on the inside. I'll kind of show you the inside real quick. So this is from the back. So from the back, you can see it's just an old work van, but it's got some nice insulation underneath this plywood. So it's the goal. I mean, this is like a shit box. It's really bad right now. So there's a lot of rust underneath this. The owner was telling me, I kind of saw it from the bottom. Also, there's a hole up here that he patched in, which is fiberglass. I don't know what the previous owner's obsession was with fiberglass, but he put that shit everywhere. So anywhere there's a hole in the metal, he just patched it with fiberglass, which is not the right way, I guess. But gotta deal with it. So anyways, this will be a good work van once I get the transmission replaced. Kind of plan on taking this to track days, kind of decking out the inside to camp and have all the tools and everything. Because I think the long-term plan is to get rid of the X5. It's fine. Like, it's a good car, and it's diesel, and it's okay. But it's just not what I really want long-term, I don't think. It's also got a ton of miles, it's like 270,000 miles on it. Kind of got scammed when I bought it. So, anyways, I'm rambling, but I bought a van. It runs, it drives, but it does both of those poorly. So, that'll be a project that I kind of work on. There's not really any rush in this. I just saw it as a good deal, and I was like, I'm gonna go buy this right now. It was pretty spontaneous, and who knows? It may not be worth it. It may be worth it, but I think I see the vision. So we'll get there eventually. But yeah, it's ugly. So another paint job needed. So on the inside, last thing you saw was me painting the calipers, and so today I think I'm gonna throw the calipers on the S13, and after that I plan on starting the powered steering. I've talked about this a lot and it kind of keeps getting repeated, but I think it's finally time to actually get some shit done, especially since we're gonna have some new projects coming in with the van and the Miata. The Miata, I'm hoping to pick up some parts this weekend to get it running, and then tomorrow I'm picking up a compressor, or actually they're bringing me the compressor. So they're bringing me a kind of an older Craftsman. It's a smaller compressor, but from what I've seen online, you can use like a low volume, low pressure gun and get away with it pretty well. So that is the plan. Tomorrow I will have a full paint setup pretty much. All my guns come in, compressor comes in, and one pro about that is I don't have to have 220 in the shop, because running 220 out from where the breaker box is here, it would be like $1,000, and honestly, I just don't feel like paying that right now, because then I'd pay $1,000 for that, and then, you know, another 800 or so for a 60-gallon to 80-gallon compressor. Just a lot of money up front, where I don't want to spend that right now. I'd rather spend that money buying paint and some guns and getting some things painted finally. Anyways, throwing these calipers on should be super easy. I might show a little bit, might not, might just show the finished product. But either way, I'm gonna get that done. Gonna end on a pretty good note where we got the calipers on. Definitely get those bled soon. It may not be on camera because I gotta get somebody else out here to help me. And then also, the next video is gonna be super cool. I'm gonna finally work on the powered steering. That's what I've decided. I've already began a little bit, but that'll be saved for the next video. You'll see. Anyways, got a lot done. The video was pretty productive. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.